Chapter 1. Shadows Beneath the City. The gas lamps flickered like dying stars against the damp brick walls of Berlin's underground, their weak glow barely piercing the suffocating dark. Below, the city's grand boulevards and bustling markets, a labyrinth of tunnels stretched like veins, carrying steam, sewage, and secrets. It was here, in the belly of the metropolis, that the first whispers of the phantom began. The year was 1883. Berlin was a city of contrasts, its surface gleaming with the promise of industrial progress, its underbelly a maze of poverty and desperation. The working-class districts, where families crammed into tenement slums, were the least of the city's concerns. But even in the shadows, the law had its eyes, or so they thought. Detective Heinrich Voss had seen his share of horrors, but nothing prepared him for what awaited him in the tunnels beneath Friedrichshain. The call had come in just after midnight. A factory worker, his voice trembling, reported the discovery of a body near the old drainage channels. Voss, a man of method and discipline, had learned to trust his instincts, and his instincts told him this was no ordinary crime. The air grew heavier as he descended, the scent of damp earth and rusted iron clinging to his coat. His lantern cast long, wavering shadows on the walls, shapes that seemed to twist and shift in the gloom. The tunnel narrowed, the ceiling pressing down like a tomb. Then he saw a figure slumped against a wall, limbs arranged with eerie precision. The victim was a young woman, no older than 20. Her face was pale, her lips blue-tinged in the dim light. But it was the wind that made Voss' breath catch. A single, precise incision ran from her collarbone to her sternum. The flesh parted with surgical precision. No blood, no struggle, just silence. This was no accident. This was a message. The coroner's report would later confirm what Voss already suspected. The woman had been killed elsewhere, her body carried here with deliberate care. The killer had taken nothing of jewelry, no personal effects. The only thing missing was the horror. Berlin's newspapers would soon dub the killer Der Schatten mit Shadow murderer. But to those who walked the tunnels, he was already something else. A ghost, a phantom. And he was just getting started. The first victim was only the beginning. Over the next 3 months, 3 more bodies were found in the underground, each one more grotesque than the last. The victims were all women factory workers, laundresses, a seamstress, all from the poorest districts, all killed in the same manner. A single, clean incision, the heart removed with clinical detachment. The police were baffled. The press was in a frenzy, and the city's underworld, always quick to exploit fear, began to whisper of a new kind of monster. Voss, now leading the investigation, pored over every detail. The bodies were left in places where they would be found quickly, never hidden, never discarded carelessly. The killer wanted them seen, wanted the city to know. But why? The answer lay in the tunnels themselves. Berlin's underground was a world unto itself, a place where the city's secrets festered. The tunnels were used by smugglers, by thieves, by those who had no place above ground. And now, by something worse. Voss' investigation led him to a man named Karl Weber, a former surgeon who had disappeared from a Berlin hospital under suspicious circumstances. Rumors swirled that he had been dismissed for unethical experiments, that he had a fascination with the human heart. A Weber was only a name on a page, a ghost. Then, on a cold November night, Voss received an anonymous letter, a single sheet of paper, the ink smudged as if written in haste. The message was simple. Look beneath the old brewery. He walks among the forgotten. The brewery was abandoned, its walls crumbling, its cellars flooded with stagnant water. Voss went alone, his revolver heavy in his coat pocket. The air was thick with the scent of mold and something else, something metallic. And then he heard it. A whisper, a breath. The lantern flickered. The shadows stretched. And for the first time in his career, Detective Heinrich Voss felt true fear. The phantom of the Berlin underground was not just a killer. He was a specter. A figure who moved unseen, striking without warning. The city's authorities were desperate, the public terrified, and the tunnels once just a place of labor and commerce had become a graveyard. But the story was far from over. As the first snow of winter settled over Berlin, another body was found. This time it was a child. The game had changed, and the phantom was still watching. To be continued in Chapter 2. The Heart Collector.